Inniswell Ministries International presents Midweek Message. Hi, family. Well, family, we're beginning our Mother's Day, work, we'll call it. And we're going to start with the widows. But first, for today, I want to just encourage our widows. We're going to start with you guys, and then we're going to move on. And towards the end, we'll talk about like how to start dealing with things, because it can get a little rough. I know. All right. So we are called to visit, protect, honor, and plead the case of the widow. That's just 4 things we're called to do. The widows have been mentioned over 80 times, and I actually think more like over 100 times. God honors widows, and we are called to honor them too. If you treat a widow unjustly, you will bring a curse upon yourself. So be fair to the widow. Some of my favorite widows from the Bible are Ruth and Naomi. Remember, Naomi and her family moved into Moab, and Naomi's sons married 2 Moabite women. And so Naomi's husband dies, and both her sons die. Now she heard that things were better back in her country, and so she's going back. Well, Ruth and Orpah said, "Hey, we're going with you." And so Naomi's like, "Look, you're still young, beautiful women. Like, you can still get husbands in this country. Like, amongst your own men. Like, I advise you to stay." And so Orpah's like, "Deuces," but Ruth goes with her, and Ruth took care of Naomi when they got to Naomi's country. And Ruth built herself a little reputation as an honorable woman. And so Boaz was the countryman of Naomi's husband. Now, Naomi knew that if she could hook them up, that Boaz could have a son for her son, and that would keep their family line going, and that would keep the land in their family. And so that happened. They got together and they had a son for Naomi's son in his place. That's a tradition in their culture. And so their family line went on and on. And as a matter of fact, Ruth and Boaz are in Jesus' family line, Jesus' genealogical line. And we have Abigail. Now, Abigail married a really horrible man named Naboth. He was just mean and surly. So Naboth was a very rich man, and he had a lot of fields and orchards. And so when the fighting came that way, David's soldiers protected Naboth's fields and vineyards. So David and his men were hungry and thirsty, and so they go to Naboth and they're like, "Yo, when stuff was hot and heavy, we protected your land. Could you give us something to eat?" And he's like, "You're not king. Like, I don't owe you anything. I didn't ask you to do that." Well, one of the servants heard. Now, David had smoke coming out his ears, and one of the servants ran back to Abigail and told her what happened. And the servant's like, "They're going to kill us all." So Abigail's like, "Calm down." And like, she prepared food for the army and for David. And she's like, "Here you go, my king. Whatever your servant can do for you, if you need something else." And so David said, "Thank you. Thank you for doing that, because, we was fitting to come in here and kill all y'all. And she said, I know, please don't hurt us just because of my husband being stupid. And he says, you're fine. And so Abigail goes back to the house, and Naboth comes in drunk. She just lets him sleep. But when he wakes up the next morning, she tells him what he did. And he had a heart attack or a stroke or something and just fell out dead right there. And David comes back through and he marries her. To be a widow in those days, it's not like you could just go out there and get a job. Like you depended on your man to take care of you. So to be a widow and not have children, that's hard. But yeah, she got to marry the king, right? And then Tamar's story, I got to make this quick. Tamar's story is she married a man and he died. And God instructed his brother to go in unto Tamar and give her a son for his family line. And so the brother goes in unto Tamar, but withdraws. Well, God was so mad that the Bible says spilled the seed. God was so mad that he, right there, he died right there. So Judah goes to Tamar and says, look, I still have this son. He's a little young yet, but as soon as he turns 18, I'll send him to you. He never did. So Tamar sees him, finds out that he's coming into town for a sheep, to shear a sheep. And so she dresses up like a harlot. And he says, oh, miss, I will give you a goat and some other things, for your services, but I don't have them right now. And so he's like, I'll give you whatever you want to hold. And she said, I'll take that ring and I'll take that staff. And he's like, sure. A few months later, Tamar's showing. The townspeople are like, Tamar played the... Town people go back to Judah. Tamar played the harlot. Now she's pregnant. Now for her to be pregnant and a widow is a shameful thing. And they could stone her to death for that. So here comes Judah. And he's all ready, right? All the townspeople, all the fellas are there. Everybody's ready to stone her. And guess what? He said, Tamar, who did you play the harlot with? And she says, oh, I don't know, but he gave me this ring and this staff. And so Judah's like, oh, oh, my daughter, I'm so ashamed. She did no wrong. So Tamar had twins. And these twins, one of the twins, Perez, is in Jesus' line. So I say all that to say that there are some very special widows, and so are all of you, and that God has a special place in his heart for widows, and it's all over the Bible. All over the Bible talks about how much God cares and how much we're responsible to care for the widow. So widows, I know it's a hard time, but please know that you are so loved. You are loved, dearly loved by the Most High God. And he has called us to visit, protect, honor, and plead the case for all of you. All right, widows, we love you. And and we are called to honor you. So today I give honor to all of the widows. And join us again next time when In His Will Ministries International presents Midweek Message. Until then, bye.